I don't believe in goodbyes, I believe in adventures. 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe in this falling ground first. Hello and welcome back to day 14 of Ease, where we are talking all about daily techniques and tactics that will help you uplevel your life in every single direction, from your professional life to your personal life. And we've almost made it halfway through the journey. And today we are going to talk about what to do when you start noticing that you are trying to be a people pleaser. So first I want to talk about why this happens. First of all, when you are wanting to be a people pleaser, a lot of times it comes through as you wanting to just go with the flow and essentially protect your place amongst the pack. And when that happens, it's because you know that you can't survive alone and you need to have support of the people around you in order to live and thrive and prosper. And what becomes difficult sometimes when we are really uprooting ourselves and making the strides and steps that we need to take to really be our best and to live at our prime optimum, we will find ourselves having reactions from people around us. And the reason why this happens most of the time is because other people feel like you will leave them behind if you are doing more than them when it comes to getting your life together and just having a greater level of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness that they themselves might not have. So when that happens, a lot of times people will really start to freak out. They'll start to be really disruptive. They'll start to try to make you seem like you are inferior. And it's this element kicking in where they don't feel that they are good enough because they don't feel like they are being of service, or they feel unwanted. And it has nothing to do with you. And almost every psychology book and article and study you can find that talks about why people try to make others feel inferior always points back to something inside of them and not something inside of you. And that is something that is very important to remember no matter where you are in life, because when we are in these dynamics and sometimes we're physically stuck in them, it can be really difficult for us to take a moment and breathe and understand that it's not even about us. It's about someone feeling like they are not good enough or important enough, and they need to put someone else down to make themselves feel good, which is not a great dynamic. We don't want to perpetuate it because it actually is emotionally damaging to your own self-conscious and your own self-esteem and the self-esteem of others around you as well. So essentially, when you're feeling this need to please, there are 5 steps that you can really lean into that will help you get out of that loop. We want to stop that loop of needing to please others and come back to actually just pleasing ourselves and making ourselves happy with our choices and our decisions and who we are and how we show up. And it can be so scary to leap past your comfort zone and to decide that you're putting yourself and your own happiness first. But at the end of the day, when you do that, it really opens the door for others to be who they are and to exit the bad dynamic of being a people pleaser or needing to make someone else feel small. So it just kind of cuts that dynamic completely. And then you are in a better place that is more, it's just more functional. So what are the 5 steps? The 5 steps are first of all, creating a life worth living for yourself. So for me, what this comes down to, and I think this will help you as well, it's really understanding what your purpose is. And purpose can sound so daunting, but in reality, being connected to your purpose means being of service to the environment around you. Because when you have a purpose, you have a purpose whether someone tells you you do or not. And when you are focused on service and doing everything you can to make where you are a better place, even if it's just a little bit, then you suddenly are able to see that you are a powerful person. You are the one who is responsible for your environment and yourself and your choices and your actions. And that is really, really empowering. So when you are creating a life worth living, you have to ask yourself, what do I really want? And we did this, I believe, in day 7 or day 6, where we talked about how do you figure out even what you want, and we broke it down into 4 different categories. But if you're interested in doing this in depth and really getting to the root of it and empowering yourself with tools to step into it and really create lasting change, then I really recommend that you sign up for Potency, which is a 4-day online course that I have that's very simple but very effective, and it maps out 8 different areas of your life and how to figure out what to focus on in each one so that you feel really happy and really fulfilled and really filled with passion and drive and happiness at the end of the day, because that is what we are going after. So once you've defined what it is that really is meaningful to you, makes you feel alive, and also makes the world a better place in the areas of health, wealth, love, and happiness in your life and in your environment, then start to understand that that's your guidebook. So if that's your purpose and these are things that make you feel good and make you feel alive, then when situations come up that are challenging, or when you are having a difficult conversation, you have to ask yourself to put it into perspective and to start to say, what do I want out of this? Where does this situation fall within the 4 categories of my life? And does this situation add to what I really want, or does it take away? And then from there, you'll know exactly what to do. And I want to be really clear that people pleasing is a negative thing, but self-reflection is not a bad thing. So after you catch what the yeses are and what the nos are, and you have your criteria for what that looks like for you, you need to be open to identifying positive feedback loops and negative feedback loops. So what I mean by this is a lot of times we can outsource our self-esteem to other people. Do they like us? Are they wanting to hang out with us? And we get in this mode of, am I fitting in? And the truth is, you probably don't want to fit in if you want to have an extraordinary life. You want to push boundaries and then be around people who do the same, and you will find that your connections and your friendships and your relationships across the board just are so much stronger and more dynamic and more fun, and life just gets this added flavor and color that you didn't even know existed before. So when it comes to feedback loops, those people who you see in your life who are happy, who push boundaries, who aren't afraid to say that they themselves have faults, and people who just really are trying to be as alive as they possibly can, those people are the people that you should get feedback loops from. So you can even just sometimes have a conversation with them like, you know, I am struggling with this thing. What do you think? Or if you want to make it a little more organized and regular, you can have a mastermind. And I've talked about masterminds before on this channel, and I will link a video below so that you can rewatch it and learn what it is and why it's good as a feedback loop in your life. But something that's really important to note is that social media is not a good feedback loop. And the reason why is because social media is all about developing an image. And you are a human being, you are not an image. I read this for the first time in Bethany Frankel's book, A Place of Yes, and it really helped shape the way I look at things. At the time, I was working for magazines, and I was really just starting out in my career. I was very young, and I think that reading that in that book, that we are human beings and anything we put out there is just an image, while I was working at a magazine, it helped me understand that everything to an extent is crafted. And when you see something online or in a publication or out there externally but not physically in real life, it's a skewed reality. It's just like a painting. A painting is beautiful, but it doesn't actually match reality. And that's the point that I'm making here. So when you are looking to social media to get a feedback loop, look at this thing in my life, look at my vacation, I'm traveling, or oh, my business is so important and special. Those things are not bad to share. They're actually fantastic to share. But you also need to keep in mind that it's not a place to source your confidence or fuel healthy ego. The best way to fuel healthy ego and confidence is actually through your relationships in person and having human connection. And I don't mean online. So FaceTiming, texting, all of that stuff, long distance friends, those things are not bad, but they are not necessarily your true physical reality. So make sure that your feedback loops are grounded in your physical reality, and do the mastermind if you are having a tough time finding people who are on that same level. A lot of people want to be going towards their goals, and a lot of people want to have mission and drive, but it's really hard to pick up momentum and then stay the course, because when you are really going for whatever it is that you want, it's really challenging, and it's also really scary, because oftentimes our dreams are bigger than our actions, and that's why we call them dreams instead of results that are happening in our lives. And so you need to keep in mind that it's not going to be easy every single day. It's not going to feel amazing every single day, and that is okay. And when you are in those moments and you are vulnerable, it is easier to become a people pleaser than to say, you know what, this doesn't fit my criteria of what I need to live my life that is worth living, and say no. Or, you know, change the dynamic a little bit to make it a yes. It's harder to do that. It's harder for people to change from negative to positive than it is to just drop something completely. So keep that in mind when you're going through this, when you are noticing the need to please, and catch yourself. And you can even bring all of these things up in the moment, because we all are just looking to be understood, and it's very, very, very difficult to pause in the middle of disillusioned conversations and say, you know what, I think we both are wanting to be understood right now, and this is what I'm hearing and this is what you're having. It's called having a difficult conversation, and people do not like difficult conversations because they don't like having to face themselves and the things that they dislike. And it's natural, it's normal, it's uncomfortable, but if you want a life worth living, you have to do it. So that is the feedback loop, and the reminder that when we have issues in our lives with difficult people, as we talked about 2 days ago, it's really more about them and less about you. But that doesn't mean that you should use that as an opportunity to become a people pleaser or to look the other way and not speak up. It's just an invitation for you to lean into a life that's worth living for you even more. Okay, so the final piece of this is to lead with contribution. So when you are having this need to please, it's probably because you want to contribute to society in some way. I know that's the case for me, and I'm sure it's the case for others as well. And if you can give back to people in some way or another, really help them and really have a mission to change their lives for the better, then when you have those situations of people pleasing, or when you notice a trap where it's like a lion's trap for you to walk in and be caged into people pleasing, you won't feel the need to continue to call that contribution, because it's not. It's the opposite. And when you contribute in ways that are meaningful to you, then you'll be less likely to walk into those traps. So different ways you can contribute are to donate clothes, to donate food, to maybe even just do one thing where you give back to others in some way, where you try to make their life better, not in a way that is forced, but just with an open mind. Take it or leave it. It's my contribution, and just let it go. Don't be attached to the outcome. Just be attached to the intention of being of service and doing it in a way where you are allowing others to also make their own decisions and their own choices. And this is a very heavy topic. It's not going to be easy, but you do need to take one action here. You need to write down what it is that makes a life worth living for you, and read it out loud to yourself every single day. We will talk about how to do this in more depth tomorrow in a way that will really just keep you on track in as little time as possible, because we are busy people, and 5 minutes a day will make a world of difference. So rewatch this if you need to, and remember that you do not need to be a people pleaser. You need to just live a life worth living to you in whatever way suits you and suits you only, and create a good feedback loop. Let me know if you have feedback loops, if you've started a mastermind group, or if you have had other things related to anything in this video that you want to go into in more depth with psychological studies and everyday tactics that you can use. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
This is Diya Gupta from lovethealchemist.com. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me. Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe, and follow me on Instagram for inspirational content that comes out daily. I love comments. I love to hear about what you're looking for. So do not be a stranger. I love you guys.